Hi, my name is Teal, and I'm your host for the SweatNet Be Amazing podcast, where we share stories of amazing women who live in our communities. My hope is that you will feel encouraged and inspired after listening to each episode. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here and wax about all things goal setting, personal development, all the stuff you and I are both geeks for.
Yes, and that's what I was saying to you earlier. Like, I was so excited when I met you because I was like, oh my gosh, I met somebody with the same energy. I feed off of that. So I'm so stoked that you're on to talk about all the things that I'm interested in. And with that said, I really kind of want to jump in and have you share a little bit about who you are.
Absolutely. So, like Seal said, my name is Lauren Widrick. I have been a professional coach for over 7 years. And I started this business while I was working in investment banking on the trading floor. So, this was my side hustle. I started this business while I was pregnant, unexpectedly, with a surprise baby. So, everyone's like, how did you do all that? I'm like, it's because I had a coach of my own during that time. So, working in banking, started my own business. I did this for 2.5 years. As a side hustle. And then I escaped and did it as my full-time business ever since 2018. And what it is, Grab Life by the Goals is the name of my company. And it is a whole life coaching solution. So for years, I did just business training and business coaching. And I realized I was missing a big part of myself because we weren't talking about mindset. We weren't talking about lifestyle. We weren't talking about relationships and all the things that are really part of the whole human. So this time last year, I launched this thing called the Grab Life by the Goals Squad. It is a membership. It's a community. It's got 70 active members right now, and we are leveling up every area of our lives together. And I know, Seal, that's one thing you and I are both passionate about, is just not being one thing, but being involved in, your health, your fitness, your wellness, your mindset, your business, your career, your family. Like it's all good. We want to work on all of it.
Well, that's what I think is so important and why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because a lot of times when people even talk to me, it's usually about fitness and wellness. And I'm like, but there's so many other parts that make you a healthy human, like an
Yes.
overall health. I do want to jump in and talk about jumping from corporate to entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I want to know, did that scare you at all?
It's the most terrifying thing that I've ever done. Truly, because I had worked in banking technology for 13 years. And I had what I've now come to call the millennial life crisis, where you've been in your career, call it 15 to 20 years, and you're looking in the mirror and you're going, I'm successful at this. I could easily keep going, climbing the corporate ladder, but I don't want to. This has no meaning for me anymore, right? Like bank software was not turning me on like it once did. But what else can I do? What else can I do? Because I went to college for this. I've invested, all these years in this career. I really did want to become a life coach, but that sounded to me like some wild, crazy, not real career. So I hired one to find out if it was a real thing. And it turns out it is a real thing. She changed my life. She was making, great money doing it. So I'm like, why not me? And so I started down that path. But the scary part is, how do you exit corporate, that stable salary, and going out in the wild and having to kill what you eat in terms of money? And I did it responsibly. I side hustled for 2.5 years. And what I did was I started getting clients, and every time I did, I would stack that money in what I called a freedom fund, so that when I quit my job, I had some cash to float me. And I sure as hell needed that cash to float me at times. Because here's the thing. A lot of people say that you should leap, take the leap and the parachute will open on the way down. But that wasn't an option for me. We had kids, we had daycare bills, we had a mortgage. Like, there was no way that we could take a significant hit to our lifestyle. So I had to do it responsibly. So long story short, yes, it was terrifying, but I crafted a plan and I worked that plan. And that's how I was able to exit and then keep my business alive those first couple of years that were kind of wiggly.
That's so important, because the fact that you're breaking it down like that, I think sometimes a lot of people do when they hear somebody's left corporate and they've gone entrepreneur, that they just jumped off the cliff and there was no plan in place. It's just like they just did it.
Yeah.
And I think plan is so important to anything that you're doing. Planning and preparing, that's so key in fitness. Like, we teach that with our clients about, you have to be planned and prepared. If you don't do that and you just kind of wing it, you're not going to be able to get the results that you're looking for. So it sounds to me it's the exact same thing that you're doing with coaching and with your coaching program.
Exactly. And it's why I just hired you and your partner Leah to be my health coach. So right before we hit record, we were working out our contract. As much as I am a great coach and I help people craft a roadmap for their lives and execute to it, I need it for myself too. There are some areas where I need the motivation, the expertise. And so I went to Seal and Leah for that. People can come to me when it comes to career changes, building businesses, lifestyle design. Like you need that accountability. You need someone who's been there before that can guide you through it.
That's huge. We feel the same way, like about coaching. So I've always had coaches and mentors my entire life, whether it was business, whether it was fitness, whatever the case may be. I've always leaned into that because there's always somebody that if you have that person for accountability, or if that person has an expertise in that field, or they're even further along, it's just, it makes such a difference. And I think that a lot of times people are scared to say that they have a coach, or maybe
Yeah.
nervous because it feels like, and even if it's in the same field, like even if it's in the same thing, they get nervous about saying that, like it's less than if they have a coach. And I'm like, no, having a coach is like huge, and it'll help you like go forward after what it is you truly want.
Oh, yeah. Like I'm not a sports girl, but I end up watching these sports documentaries because I'm very fascinated by people who are at the top of their field. And so I'm like, Michael Jordan had a million coaches. Tom Brady has 18. He's got the nutrition coach and the throwing coach and the running coach. And I'm sucked into this Conor McGregor, UFC
Yes.
fighter guy documentary right now. And I'm like, he's got 8 coaches for the different parts of his fighting. You know what I mean? Coaching is not for the weak. Coaching is for the very strong and people who insist upon being at the top of their field.
What inspired you to want to be a coach? Like what inspired that for life coaching?
When I was growing up in investment banking technology, I sucked at those things. I suck at banking and I suck at technology. I kind of stumbled into this field, but I was always very good at leading people, which is why I got promoted so quickly. Despite being bad at the craft, by the time I was 29, I was managing a team of 60 people on 3 continents. And so I'm like, what do I do with this? I love helping people. I love unlocking potential. And this term like life coach or motivational speaker had kind of been floating around. I'm just like, I can't do it. I didn't go to college for that. I don't know if they make any money. And I stumbled across, actually, let me be honest, my husband stumbled across this woman at a networking event. And he came home and he's like, this is going to sound really weird, but I met this woman that I think you need to meet. And I'm like, this is weird. He's never tried to like hook me up with another woman before. Like, what is this about? Right. But I met her and it was Sarah. It was Sarah Olin. It was the person who became my first coach because she unlocked something in me in that one conversation. Not only like, what is it I want to do, but it's possible for me. So I didn't know to call it life coaching, but I knew I wanted to help and inspire people. And then the universe manifests what you need. My husband met this random person at a networking event. Here she was, and the portal was opened.
That's so awesome. It's funny when you do love helping people and you lean into that. Like, I do believe that doors open,
They do.
and opportunities come, and it's just taking steps forward. And just by you putting that out there, like, I can just tell you, like, even a year ago, Leah and I started talking about wanting to be in the right room, wanting to be around people that are motivated and inspired and have that drive for more.
Yep.
And we've been putting that out. Like we keep talking, we're like, and we kept thinking that we're gonna have to like fly to another city or go see somebody somewhere else. And then it was like all of a sudden you come into our life, and I'm like, that's it. I'm like, there's the room we need to be in. Like that's who we need to be connected to. So I truly believe in when you start, saying something and you start putting it out there and you start leaning into it, like things happen, doors open, opportunities come. And
It's so true. I think you and I are realizing the same thing, which is it's so much about the room. And that's why I've transformed my business really from being like, I was a one-on-one coach for almost 4 years. So it was just me and one other human, and I was guiding them through whatever they were working on. And then I started doing group coaching programs where I'm like, okay, I'm Lauren. I'm your business coach. I'm going to teach you all how to start your side hustle. I'm going to teach you all sales. That was the next evolution. And then it was this time last year in 2022 that I realized I had all of these alumni that had graduated from my group programs, my one-on-one coaching, and they had all found each other, whether it be on Instagram or LinkedIn. And then they were hanging out with one another. And somebody knocked on my door and said, how do I join your squad? And I said, I don't know, take my sales training program. They're like, I don't want your sales training program. I just want to be in your squad. And so I had a conversation with my husband. He's like, you need to launch a membership for badasses. So people who are all reaching for goals, working hard, and recognize the power of the community. And so I launched the squad. And it's not like I'm not the only coach. I have 2 coaches that work on my team. Moreover, the people in the squad coach each other. We have a marketing person and a fitness person and a finance person. And we've got all these people that coach each other. And that's why it's happening so much faster. It's faster than if I could coach them all individually. So I'm with you. The room is everything.
It is. And the power of community, the power of connection, the power of who you
Yeah.
meet, the power of being willing to walk across the room and introduce yourself. I mean, that's how I met you. I was like, I knew when I went to that one event and I was like, I knew you were going to be there. And I was like, I have to meet her. Like, I don't know anything about her other than what I've heard and what I've read, but I have to meet her. And it was immediate. It was instant.
Yep.
So there's so much power in that. So that's why we're so excited about that June event. It's like, we are going to be in the room and we're going to meet some people and make some connections. And it's going to be amazing.
Well, and it's the same reason that I signed up for your challenge in August and then hired you guys as my coaches leading up to that, because I know it's going to be great working with you guys. And I want to meet other women who are really serious about their health and their wellness and their vitality. Like, I want to get in the room with those people too. Because it's so easy with my immediate circle, my neighbors, my husband, my friends, like they're not as dedicated to fitness as we will be in this group.
That's
And so
right.
I want to be with people who are serious and like going for it.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for that, because you're not going to find that in every every room that you walk in. So there,
Yes.
it is finding that room of people that is like that are on fire, and you want to
That
just
are on
like jump in and
fire.
be part of it. Yes,
Yeah.
they're on fire and you want to be part of it. So if there's any advice you could give to somebody that's like thinking about a life coach, maybe like, do you have, a couple of reasons of like when it's time for somebody to find a life coach or to hire you as a life coach?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I would say when you can no longer bear your life being like this any longer. And I'm not saying you have to be in misery or broken down. I was in a bit of misery and broken down when I hired that first coach, but I'm not saying that's what you have to be. You have to just be no longer okay with it being just okay. And that's again, like why I hired you guys as my health and fitness coach. My fitness and health are okay. And I'm not okay with that anymore. I want it to be extraordinary. So you have to hit a little bit of a breaking point. A lot of people are feeling just a little bit frustrated with themselves because they're high performers at work, right? They're really smart people. Why can't I figure this out? And then another thing I want to share with people is I meet a lot of folks that are like, I want to hire you, but I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Do I need to already have a goal? And I'm like, no, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you design the next chapter of your life, because people come to me and they think they want a new job. Well, when I dig under the covers, I'm like, your job isn't the problem. It's actually your relationships. So I would say when you're right, when you're done fucking around, hopefully we can drop an F-bomb here.
Yes, we can.
When you are done fucking around with a 6 out of 10 life, it's time to figure out what's going to take you to the next level.
And I think, and just correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I think this is really important when it comes to like any coaching, any coach that you work with. I think some people have the misconception that, okay, I hired a life coach. Now they're just gonna change my life. Like it's like somebody,
Yeah.
bringing this on for fitness. We're gonna change your life. We're gonna give you the plan and help you prep and get you in the direction, but it's gotta come from within.
100%. 100%. So I call that the willingness factor. And I can sort of suss it out. I mean, I've been coaching for so long now. I have hired, people have hired me in the past, and I recognize after the fact that they weren't really willing to change. And so now I'm very careful about who we bring into the squad and who we work with, because I'm like, are you going to dig into this stuff? Because it's confronting. When you first start to change your life, the first few weeks are very exciting and you're all on fire and you're all excited. But when that first paint cloud of motivation wears off, then what? Then what? So that's why it's a structure that you come back to week after week is, everybody's motivation wanes. My motivation wanes, but you need to be around people that are like, girl, you got this. What's in the way? Let's get that thing out of the way. Let's keep you going on track. But yeah, I mean, my people are not the people I work with are hard workers. They're not afraid of hard work. It's kind of like me as your client. I'm not going to not work, but I'm going to need to come to you when I'm feeling unmotivated, when I'm stuck, when I've been working at this for 6 weeks and not really seeing that many results yet. I'm going to need you to look at me and be like, keep going, Lauren. You've got this. It's happening under the surface.
That's everything. That's exactly how we feel with coaching.
Yeah.
You need the accountability, you need the support, you need the encouragement, you need the plan, you need all of it. And I just listening to you talk about life coaching, it's so much of what we do with helping women with their fitness goals. So it's very tracks very much the same.
I
And
have a little like framework in the squad. So I like to say you get the 4 Ps. So you get the people, you get the parties, which makes it fun. You get the playbooks, which is the instruction manual, and then you get the permission to actually like give yourself permission to go for it. So people,
love all
playbooks,
of that.
parties, permission. Yeah, and it just makes your goals unfuckable with.
That's freaking awesome. Like that, and that's every single thing you need. Like for any goal, any goal,
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
goal.
And one of my favorites is playbooks because I'm like, I've done entrepreneurship coaching for so long. And so many people in our initial session, they're like, I'm really overwhelmed by the LLC and the EIN and the legal contracts and the paperwork and how to make a website. And I'm like, that's the easiest part. I have a checklist for that here. Do not go down the Google scroll hole. Like I have a playbook for that. And then same with like sales pipeline building. I'm like, here's a playbook for that. You'll have to customize it for your business, but you don't have to, it's not a mystery, right? Even exiting corporate for entrepreneurship, I have a playbook for that. So you don't have to like wade through and figure it out for 3 years. You can do it in 90 days.
So where can people find you for this? So if somebody's listening right now and you are
Mhm.
like speaking straight to them, because I know there is somebody going to be listening and going, okay, I'm ready, I'm willing, let's go. What do they need to do at this point?
Oh, that's great. Okay. So I'd say first, let's get connected and get to know each other. I spend the most time on Instagram. So my handle is at Lauren Widrick. You can consume my content. It's a little raunchy. There's some F bombs in there. So we'll see if we vibe. Um, Hopefully it'll turn you on. But if you're interested in joining the squad, it is an annual membership, which is designed to craft a roadmap for your life goals. And I say goals multiple because everybody has multiple goals. And we enroll quarterly. So the next quarterly enrollment is July 2023. And if you're interested in joining that class, you can go to laurenwidrick.com/squad, read more about it. And then there's a link to apply if you're interested.
Well, I think it's awesome what you're doing. And I think, the setup, just the fact of like talking to you and knowing that you're living out. So this isn't just something that you're doing and then the rest of your life looks different behind the scenes. No, this is something that you're doing with intention and purpose. And the fact that you've brought Leah and I on for your fitness journey and we're excited to be part of that, but you're also considering that like, really living out the example of coaches need coaches. We need each other.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. And I am the head coach of the community. And so I have made huge career moves. I've transitioned from corporate to entrepreneurship. I built a multi 6-figure business. I can teach all of that stuff. And to your point, I want to set an example for like a big part of why I hired you guys as my fitness coaches is I want to set an example for my squad that like I don't dick around. I want a full, rich life in every area and I am blocked. And so I find people who will get me unblocked when it comes to health and wellness, and we're going to kill it. And then what's next, right? Like bigger stages, bigger events, freak flag year messaging. I want to show people that it's safe and healthy to go for it. It's wonderful.
That's what I love about your energy is because I believe that we don't have to settle. We don't have to like stop where we are, accept life the way it is. I know for me next year I turn 50 and I'm like already thinking about my list of 50 things during the year of 50 because
I
I want to
love
go
that.
for it. Like I want to go for other things. I don't want to just be like, okay, my husband says half 100, and like
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't have to look the way, maybe everybody thinks 50 should look. Like I have different visions and a different version of that in my head. And I want to, like you said, go for it. So that's what I love about your energy. That's why I thought this was so important to have this conversation. And I really would like to know, is there something for you that you lean into for motivation and inspiration that keeps you going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's my coach. I actually have 2 coaches, and between the 2 of them, if I'm having a motivation issue, I'll say it behind closed doors. I'm like, "I'm in a rut. I don't feel like doing the shit today." And they're like, "Remember what it's for." Like, I'm entering in my business right now. The next 6 weeks of my business are extremely busy, and I'm frankly overwhelmed. I'm launching a new course, a new membership. I'm enrolling a new class of the squad, and we're putting on this event June 24th. Like, it's a lot. And so I go to my coach and I'm like, "I'm completely overwhelmed." And she's like, "Let's get you regrounded and excited. And then let's break down all the shit you have to do and get it organized." Great. So I joke that I can barely wipe my own butt without talking to my coach. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I lean on people to help me stay motivated. But of course I love, the books and the podcasts and listening to Lizzo and pumping myself up and dancing. So that stuff helps too.
Oh, I love dancing. Dancing for everything.
Oh yeah, I say
Celebrate, stress
we
relief.
work hard, slay hard.
That's it. That is it. Well, I don't know if you have anything else, but you know, as far as something that you feel like you want to leave with the listeners before we wrap up.
Yeah, I have a bomb that I drop at the end of my keynote talks. And it's this. A lot of people think that having a great life is somehow selfish. If you go work on your personal goal, it's going to cannibalize time with your kids or take away from your career, and it's somehow wrong, or you should feel guilty for wanting it. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I would go so far as to say it's actually your moral obligation to live the best life possible, to unearth your goal and do it. Because for instance, let's take your goal of starting a business. You don't want to do it because it'll take time away from your kids and you think it'll get you fired and whatever. It's just the opposite. Honestly, if you start that business, you will serve the people who need to be served through that gift. You personally will have a great life and enjoy yourself. And then your kids and your friends and your community will be inspired watching you. So that's a triple win. So if you don't go for it, you're actually robbing humanity of your gifts. And I think it's no way to live. So if you have a dream inside of you, don't rob others and don't rob yourself of that experience. You've got to go for it. Like that's why I call it your moral obligation. And I truly, truly believe that.
That really sums up everything, because I truly believe in that too. I think that I know for me with what I do in my career every day, but there's this other part of me that like coaching and fitness and all the things that we've done, events like we did Be Amazing and all of that. That's just a piece of me that if I didn't, I think I would just be depressed and down because I'm not using I'm not using all the tools, like all the crayons in my coloring, and
Yes.
all the crayons in my box. Like I've always wanted to live life like that, where it's like you're using every gift you've been given and every tool, every talent. You don't leave anything uncovered. I don't want to get further in life and realize like, man, I should have done that.
Yep.
Why didn't I do that kind of thing? So I'm with you on that. I think that we all have multiple gifts, and I don't think we have to be locked in like one thing, or that you're just defined by one thing you do and that's it. No, there's so many wonderful things about you as a person.
Yeah. I know. You and I are both what I call and people. So there's just people and there's and people. So there are people that are like, I am a CFO and that's their identity and that's wonderful. And they don't need it to be anything else. But I couldn't live like that anymore. I used to, right? Like I'm a VP at Wells Fargo or whatever. I am now 20 things. I am a coach, a speaker, a podcaster, a stand-up comedian, a content creator, a course creator, a community builder, like so many things. And it feels great to use all those crayons. I love the crayons in the box. It feels so great to use all those colors.
Yeah, I just feel like you feel more complete when you're really tapping into all those areas. You're not limiting yourself.
Yeah.
And that's helped me grow so much. I can remember saying like there was 2 years ago, I was like starting a podcast. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about it. I Googled it to figure it out. And I was like, here we go. We're just going to do it. And we're going to take this step and do it. And then realizing like, wow, if I had stopped myself from doing it, I would have missed out on 100 conversations with different people all over.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful. So thank you for saying all that. Thank you for like really bringing this episode to what I believe is going to really launch forward some things, not just for me or you, but for whoever's listening. I think it's going to be a seed. It's planting seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing a little bit of your story. There's definitely more to you, and I think that we'll probably do some more of this down the road. But again, so excited to work with you and so excited to share about what you're doing and how you're helping people go after their goals. Where can everybody find you on Instagram again?
The handle is just my name. It's at Lauren Widrick. And if you're listening and this resonates with you, shoot me a DM and we can say hi and get to know each other.
Well, thank you again so much for being on.
Absolutely. This has been awesome today. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. If you like the podcast, please like and share this with other women in your life. You can find out more about SweatNet on sweatnet.com or follow them on Instagram at SweatNet and SweatNet Charlotte. You can follow me personally on Instagram at It's Seal Smart. Stay tuned for the next episode of the SweatNet Be Amazing podcast.